Dear students, welcome back to Chemical Technology. The last time we have started with the organic industry. So in organic industry, we have already dealt with the soap and detergent industry. So in today's module, we will try to discuss about the sugar and starch industry. So we are already familiar with the sugar and starches. So the carbohydrates is the main constituent of our food, and the carbohydrates, which are the primary source of energy. So sugars play a very important role in humans' life. Also, there is more demand for starch in today's scenario. So we will discuss sugar and starch industry with respect to Indian scenario. So as far as sugar is considered, so it is mainly produced with the sugar cane juice in India, whereas the beetroot is the major crop which required to produce the sugar outside India. So with dealing with sugar and starch, we will try to emphasize more on the Indian scenario case, and we will see how the sugar is and the sugar byproducts they are formed. Also from the carbohydrates or from sugar how the starch is formed, that we will see in detail in coming slides. So if we see the history of the sugar, then the carbohydrates, sugar and starches are the major food for humans that are synthesized by plants using carbon dioxide and water from the atmosphere. So you are already familiar with the photosynthesis in biology. So plants, they will, with the help of chlorophyll, they will fix the carbon dioxide and water, and they will produce carbohydrates, and that carbohydrates we can break down into sugars and starches, and we can use for our use. So the plants, they are the primary who will produce the carbohydrates from the nature. Also with the synthetic route also we can convert them, but synthetic route is not popular. But we are using carbohydrates directly from nature, and we are using to convert sugar and starches for our use. Then sugar, they are not only the part of diet, but they are also taste enhancers. So generally sugars have the sweet taste. So human desire sweetness in their diet, and nature provides it from the several sources. So sweetness mainly comes from the sugars. So we have the sugars to enhance this sweet. And also we have the sugars which will give no calorie value for the diabetic patients. So the sugars which are using, they will give sweetness, and sweetness is related with the happiness. So sweetness will enhance the happiness of humankind. So sugars, they will also impact the human in psychological way. The next one is it provides not only sweet but also energy. So we know already the carbohydrates, the main function of carbohydrates to give the energy. So the sugars, they will enhance your taste, but also they are the primary source of energy. Then nowadays there are political demand to convert agricultural surpluses into materials such as motor fuels. So as we are aware of the petroleum prices, they are increasing more and more nowadays, and it has gone more than $115 per barrel. So the petroleum prices will be there in future. So there is a need to convert the raw material which is present in environment and utilize them as a fuel. So generally we are producing biodiesel and bioethanol. So bioethanol is produced from the sugar cane juice. So bagasse which have the less percentage of sugar cane juice remaining in that, so that we can ferment it, and by fermentation we can produce the bioethanol, and that with the blending of petrol or diesel we can use to run our cars. Then rising petroleum prices make the goal seems better. So as the petrol prices go on, the bioethanol prices will be less, and then we can use the better substitute for the petroleum. The naturally occurring combinations of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen with the same ratio as water, as termed as carbohydrates, means hydrates of carbon. So carbohydrates what came from the hydrates of carbon, and it will mainly have the CHO in their chemical structure. The most common types are sucrose, that is ordinary sugar, the starch, dextrose, and cellulose. So sucrose, what we are eating daily, and then starch material, and then dextrose, and the cellulose, which we can mainly find in the fibers or in the leathers. If you see the sucrose, the chemical formula is C12H10O11, that is disaccharide, means the molecules they are combined to give C12H22O11 structure. Then it has a molecular weight of 342, melting point at 186 degrees centigrade. It has a density around 1.58 gram per cc, and it is very soluble in water and slightly soluble in methyl and ethyl alcohol, and it is generally in the form of powder, and it can be granulated. If we see the chemical structure of sucrose, then we can see, so here the C and this C, they are bonded with the oxygen, and the same case over here. So this carbon structure is important, and we will see what it is named as and how they are formed in the chemical structure. So we will try to discuss the sugar industry with respect to Indian scenario. So it was initially concentrated in UP and Bihar, but now it's most of the Deccan and southern states. So earlier the UP and Bihar, they were calling as the sugar bowl of India, and the main sugar production happens in UP and Bihar. But the more irrigation techniques, the Deccan and southern states also producing more and more sugar canes to produce the sugar. Then sugar cane, being highly perishable crop, cannot be transported over long distances. Hence the factories have necessarily to be set up within the economic distances. So if you see the sugar cane, then the sugar cane, if it transported for long distance, the sugar content of the sugar cane, it will be fermented, and the sugar content will go on reducing as the time passes. So it is necessary to set up a factory which is very near to the field, and if you have seen the sugar factories, then you can see that sugar factories are always nearby to the crops or nearby to the fields. So the fields nearby the factories, they will produce more and more sugar cane, and they will directly transport to the factories for the production of the sugar in it. Then having regards to these basic characteristics of the industry, the concept of minimum spatial distance between one factory and another has come to be accepted. So within that area where the sugar crop production is very, very high, then there may be more than one or two factories. Generally the factories, they are in some areas located, but in case of sugar industry, wherever is the crops, you can find the multiple of the sugar factories, but they have to maintain some minimal spatial distance in order to avoid the competition between them. So this is the industry where the industry is set up very near to the raw material. So there are many industries which are we can have, like the glass industry. If we have, then it is should be near to the market, so that the transportation, it will not cause any damage. Similarly, for sugar industry, it is near to the raw materials. Then sugarcane is the main raw material for sugar industry, accounting almost 60% of the cost of production of sugar. So in sugar industry, sugarcane is the most important, and the economic will be affected by the sugarcane. So around 60% of the economics of the sugar industry, it will be remain affected by the sugarcane. Then sugar industry is an important agro-based industry. Then it is fortunately the fortunes largely depend upon the availability of the sugarcane. So here, as it is the affecting the economic 60%, so it is largely depend upon the availability of sugarcane in that area. The factories that govern this industry are yield of sugarcane per acre and percentage recovery of sucrose. So these are the two factors that affect the sugar industry. One is how much sugarcane we are getting per acre, and in that sugarcane how much sucrose is present, and how we are able to recover that sucrose from the sugarcane juice. Then India, unfortunately, both are low. So India's sugar cane per acre and the percentage recovery also both are low in India. So the economics is affecting these things. Then Indian sugar industries don't have own plantations, hence no control over quality and quantity of sugar cane. Though the sugar cane plants, they are located near to the raw material, but the raw material is not produced by the industries. So they have to depend upon the sugarcane production by the farmers in that area. So the sugar industry, they will not have the control over the quality and quantity of the sugarcane which is producing nearby fields. Then a notable feature of this industry is that it does not depend on external energy resources such as coal and firewood. So here the best feature of this industry is that the bagasse which are producing in sugarcane, after removal of juice from the sugarcane, that we can directly fire in the fire to get the energy source. So here the bagasse, they are the main source of energy over here, and it not only generates its own power but also produces surplus power to nearby rural area. So after burning bagasse, they get the enough energy, and the extra energy they are utilizing to produce the power, and which we can supply them nearby rural areas, and they can have the more money through it. If the entire potential is harnessed, the industry can easily provide an additional 2000 megawatt at fairly reasonable cost. The capital cost per megawatt produced by sugar mills at 80% efficiency will hardly be 40% of that of thermal. So this is the thing which will help the sugar industry to grow, that they will not only produce the sugar, but they will also produce the power, which is much cheaper than the power which comes through the thermal energy. Then while in other sectors of country cooperative movements has either failed or slowed, the sugar factory success had been heartening. So most of the sugar industry in India, they are based on cooperative basis. So in India, the other cooperative may have failed or slowed, but the sugar cooperative industry is growing in very forward rate. They have positive advantages such as they get maximum supply of sugar cane, as all farmers are member of the cooperative sugar mills. So wherever the sugar factory is located, so they will have the all supply of sugar cane from that area. So the sugar cane manufacturers over that area, they will tie with the sugar mill over there, and they will supply all the sugar cane to that factory. So in this way, the both are benefited. The farmers, they can sell their sugar directly to the factory. Also factories also benefited as they get the raw material readily available after they will produce the sugar cane. So in this way, the cooperative it will enhance the sugar cane industry. So here the farmers and the mill developer both will be benefited in this case. Also profits are equally shared in all members instead of going into hands of a few sugar barons. So here as it is cooperative, so all will be the members of the factory, and all what are the profits they are getting, that will be equally shared. So both the industry person and the farmers both will be equally benefited in this case. Many welfare activities also started by these societies in India, and also jobs for many youths. So sugarcane industry, with the help of the farmers and whatever the profits they are getting, they have started the many activities, such as they have started schools, they have started medical hospitals, and they are also giving the electric energy. Also it is the main thing responsible for the production of job. So employment is also produced by the sugarcane. Hence this is one of the important industry that we need to study in case of the Indian chemical industrial scenario is considered. As far as the sugar production is considered, we have the two methods. One is extraction of sugar cane to produce crystalline white sugar. Another is extraction of sugar cane to produce the good dark brown sugar concentrate. So mainly in India, the sugar is produced, and the rural part or the small scale industry, they will produce either sugar or they will produce a dark brown color sugar concentrate that we generally called as the good. The extraction of sugar cane to produce crystalline white sugar. So if you are producing 1 ton of raw sugar, that is 97% sucrose, yield from cane 95% on sucrose basis and 9.5 to 15% on cane basis, then sugar cane requires 6 to 10.5 tons or 16 to 10% of sucrose in the sugar cane. Then water will require 3 to 4 tons, then lime 12 to 17 kg, then sulfur dioxide 6 to 10 kg. The plant capacities, generally it will vary from 100 to 400 tons a day of sugar. So here what happens, the canes are shredded in crusher and then squeezed through a series of pressure mill containing groove valves. So as we have seen the outside, the sugar canes, they are generally they are crushed to get the sugar juice. So here also the same thing done. They are shredding and crushed in the series of pressure mills to get the sugar cane juice. The weak juice and makeup water is added as extractant fluid before squeezing to optimize juice yield at 95 to 97%. So whatever the bagasse which is coming, the water is added to it, and the water will dissolve the sucrose or the sugar cane juice which is remaining in bagasse, and that will make the juices around 95 to 97%. Then colloids emitted by calcium phosphate and lime. So the lime which we are using is generally to remove the colloids which are present in sugarcane juice. Then sulfur dioxide bubble until pH is 7 to 7.1, and also sulfur dioxide act as a bleaching agent, and this provides maximum flocculation of the impurities. So the lime to remove the colloids, sulfur to maintain pH, and as a bleaching agent also to remove the impurities. So this procedure is done in extraction of the sugar from the sugar cane. Also the phosphoric acid or carbon dioxide can be substituted as the acidifying agent depending on the type of extract handled. Then closed system in coil for heating and to flocculate impurities. Then clarified liquor overflows to evaporator, whereas underflow process for sugar juice recovery. So here the overflow which is high in sucrose content, it will go to the evaporator for the recovery of the sugar crystals, and also what is the underflow, with the overflow will go to the evaporator, whereas the underflow process for the sugar cane recovery. So in overflow we will have the concentration of the sugar or the sucrose that we can send to evaporator, and the whatever the overflow, it will have also some appreciable amount of sucrose, so that we can send for the sugar juice recovery. The filter cake which is remaining we can use as a fertilizer. Then juice concentrate to 80 to 85% to 40% in 3 or 4 effective evaporator with crystallization completed in a vacuum pan unit. So here the concentration we will enhance, and the crystallization process will start, and we can remove the crystals in the centrifuge. So the mixture of crystals and syrup called massecuite, which is cook mass in French, it is separated via high speed basket centrifuge. So here the basket centrifuge is used, and this syrup solution with crystals, they will be centrifuged at very high speed, and the crystal which can separate. The syrup is reconcentrated and cooled successively to obtain 1 or 2 more crops of crystals. So here after removing the first batch of crystal, then we can further reconcentrate the remaining syrup, and we can cool it so that the crystal will appear, and we can have another 2 or more crops of the crystals. The final mother liquor is done at blackstrap molasses, which is sent to distilleries for the conversion to ethanol. So the remaining mother liquor, after getting the sugar crystals, we can send them for the ethanol production. The pulp which is expelled, known as bagasse, is used as fuel and also used in insulating board for the building construction. The other uses of bagasse is for the fertilizer, then cattle feed, and for paper. So here mainly the sugar cane they will be crushed to yield the sugar cane juice, then the chemicals added to remove the impurities and colloids, then it will be concentrated, and then crystals will appear that will be separated via centrifugation, and the remaining will send to the ethanol, whereas bagasse they will go for the energy production by burning. So this is the flow diagram for the sugar production. So this you can see they are the crushers, where the sugar cane they will come and they will be crushed and produce the sugar cane juice. So that is sent to the pan. So the sugar cane juice which is produced over here, and also with addition of water, the remaining bagasse, we are removing the juice which is less concentrated. So the weak juice whatever we are sending to the pan, where the sulfur dioxide is added to maintain pH. Also it will act as a bleaching agent. Then the calcium hypophosphate, then the lime, they will be sent into that. So they will remove the impurities over there, and also the colloids. Also the sulfur dioxide, they will also remove the impurities over there. Then whatever they will settle down, and the sludge here that can be used as a fertilizer, and whatever the sugar cane juice that will send to the multiple effect evaporators 3 to 4. So they will be heated over there, and the water will be evaporated. Then they are sent to the vacuum pan crystallizer, where the crystal will appear. So we can take 2 to 3 crops of sugar crystals. Then the sugar crystals from the syrup, they will centrifuge in a high speed basket, and the sugar crystals that will term as the crystal sugars, whereas the mother liquor which will have very less concentration of the sucrose, that is sent for the evaporator crystallization, and the blackstrap molasses for the production of the ethanol. So this is how it is crushed, then impurities are removed, then they are evaporated to form the crystals which are separated, and we can have the crystal sugar.